is going to focus on tokenization. The whole notion of tokenization is something that's relatively new. As a measure of how new it is, the folks over at the PCI Security Standards Council recently commissioned the folks over at PricewaterhouseCoopers to undertake a study to analyze the impact of tokenization, end-to-end encryption, and other so-called beyond PCI technologies and procedures on the standards, and whether or not implementing tokenization or end-to-end encryption or one of these things will minimize, change, or otherwise alter what organizations have to do in order to achieve and maintain PCI compliance. So in short, this is pretty new stuff, and a lot of people use the term. It means different things to different folks, etc. And one of the things that we like to do when we're talking to merchants about PCI is ask them about these emerging technologies and issues. So we've talked to a lot of people about tokenization. For many, it's new. For others, they have been looking at it. They've talked to various and sundry vendors. Some have implemented it. Some are considering it, and we'll kind of go through this whole process, where the market is, where demand is coming from, what types of things people are buying, talking about buying, and really give you a sense of where things stand in the marketplace. Then Matt Orens, who's the Chief Security Officer at EPX, Electronic Payment Exchange, who's one of the leading players in the space, is going to talk about what he's personally experienced going out talking to the merchant community, the service provider community, etc. What kinds of things companies are doing. He's going to talk about some case studies, things that he's personally been involved in. And with that, what I'd like to do is just kind of proceed here. And if you have questions, there's a Q&A box, in this, it's called questions, and just type your questions in. And so, for example, one person just typed in, Dave, could you please speak up? So I'm going to crank up the microphone here, and I'm going to talk a little louder. Hopefully, Ted, you ask, could I please speak up? Is this helping? Please type in an answer so that I'll know. But I'll try to keep my voice volume higher and the microphone volume higher here. Okay, Ted says we're good. So with that, let's proceed through the various charts that we've got here. First, the PCI knowledge base. I think many of you are familiar with it. If you're not, we're a research organization. We've been around, good Lord, it's a year and a half. I've been a PCI consultant for about 4.5 years now. And what we've been doing is focusing on a lot of different issues. If you look at the center of this chart, certainly we started out doing a lot of the core PCI issues. Best practices, what are organizations doing to achieve compliance, what are they actually doing in terms of complying, not complying, and we do anonymous interviews. Lately, we've been focused on, let's call it more beyond PCI types of issues. Some of the things like PCI and cloud computing, and virtualization, end-to-end encryption, tokenization, outsourcing. You can read all the stuff here. The point is not to read everything on every chart. The point is to simply let you know that we're focusing on a lot of different issues in our research, and with that, just reminding everybody of how we do things. We do anonymous interviews. We've done over 450 hours of 100% anonymous interviews. We spent most of the last year working in partnership with the National Retail Federation, identifying retail industry PCI best practices. Over the last few months, we've been working with the Merchant Risk Council, which is a lot of e-commerce oriented companies, and working with their members to identify PCI and its impact on fraud and fraud management and risk management, and how the business side of these organizations manages those properties. And recently we just started, and we'll be launching over the next year, really, a relationship with the National Restaurant Association. So we'll be looking at a lot of best practices in that industry as well. what we are trying to do here is focus on tokenization. So you have to start off with the definition. It's a definition. It is not the definition. There are a lot of different ways to define it. As I say, it's early in the evolution. And it's certainly about replacing confidential data, mainly these days credit card numbers, but also social security numbers, et cetera. The whole point is information that has intrinsic value that could be used to commit identity theft and fraud. Substitute for that information with intrinsic value random numbers, hash values, other codes that substitute. It's the management of that process. The substitution piece isn't the hard part. It's the part about managing the information. Who should be managing it? How should it be managed? Can it be reversed? How are the numbers generated, et cetera? There's a whole lot of issues there, and again, Matt's going to talk about those in more detail than I will. But the bottom line here, people are interested in tokenization because it reduces cost, because it eliminates sensitive or confidential data from systems. The point here is the less data you have to protect, the less it costs to do so. So when it comes to compliance, compliance scope. Sorry, we're having a bit of background noise. Matt's been having some issues with his system, and I think it's getting resolved here. So, but at any rate, the whole idea here is if you can reduce the number of systems that process, store, or transmit card data, you can reduce the cost and the effort necessary to achieve and maintain PCI compliance. So it's a cost issue, it's a scope issue, it's a risk issue. Again, by replacing data that has black market value, intrinsic value in the marketplace, you really have less to steal. One of the things that we've seen as a major issue, as we've been talking with some of the largest organizations out there, is that people are looking for, let's call it a multi-channel approach to this. Some organizations who are in the tokenization business are focused on the point of sale, the physical point of sale. Others are focused on the e-commerce shopping cart. Some are, focused on Moto and, the call center. What we're getting at here, I guess, is that there's a lot of different ways that particularly large organizations do business, a lot of channels through which they generate transactions. They're looking for solutions that will work across channel, and it's hard to come up with like one answer, the best answer, et cetera. But certainly the demand in the marketplace is for something that will work across the various front office applications, integrate with the various back office applications, and work with the various payment processors. So the point here is it's not just about turning real data into fake data. It's about fitting into the existing environment, simplifying the process. That's certainly this chart, more than any other single chart, kind of summarizes where we see the need in the marketplace based on our research at this point.